My name is Philip Tan. Before I talk about the equipment, actually, I want to just talk a little bit about my how I got DJing. I was actually originally a b-boy, a breakdancer, when I was a very, very little kid with much more flexible arms and legs, and a much stronger back. So that was my original introduction into hip hop, which is a culture, not just a form of music. Obviously, music's a big part of it, but also includes fashion and graffiti writing and obviously rapping and uh, and DJing, of course, and breakdancing. So there's a lot of culture that we probably won't have time to get into great depths. I'm going to do my best to try to represent the music of the culture. A lot of it is going to be rap, but a lot of it's going to predate rap because DJs had to manipulate hip hop records before we knew them as hip hop records. And hopefully, I'll be able to show some of those techniques using the technology that we're going to be discussing today. So let's talk about mixers. Audio mixers already existed in radio and recording studios long before they showed up in discos and clubs. A mixer is just basically a piece of technology that allows you to connect multiple sound sources. That could be turntables, tape decks, and microphones, and then you combine them before they go out to where they're supposed to go. That might be you're trying to make a recording to another tape, or you're trying to broadcast over radio, or in a DJ's case, you might be trying to play it out to a big sound system so that people can dance. But DJs had to adapt the technology for their purposes, for dance floor context, because right at the beginning there really weren't very good pieces of technology for discos. I just want to sort of point out in this picture over here, I think it's a radio station from either the 50s or the 40s, and you can see there's a ashtray right there, right next to the record player, which is not good for electronic equipment, but that gives you an idea. And on the right, of course, we have Donna Summer, Georgia Moroder, and Pete Bellotti, who were a dynamic trio who innovated in the disco era, working in the recording studio. Last week, I talked a little bit about disco mixing techniques, and this guy, Francis Grasso, who was the DJ of Salvation 2, Haven, and Sanctuary, and in 1969 introduced the technique of beat matching, a way of synchronizing different records so that it sounded like they blended into each other without stopping. And that was the idea that of the disco trying to be like a chariot that can't possibly stop in wartime. You've got to keep going no matter what happens, otherwise the disco dies. And he originally did it with this mixer that you see on the right, which is a handcrafted job made by Alex Rosner, this fellow over here, which I also mentioned briefly, but I think he needs a little bit more time in his role in developing the DJ mixer. See, he was the person who outfitted the sound system for a number of big DJs. Sorry, for a number of big discos, all the way from the mid '60s into the '70s. So that piece of technology that he developed worked, but he knew it wouldn't last a very long time. It was just a homemade or custom job specifically for Francis Grasso. So he had these criteria for any component of a disco sound system. The sound had to be of good quality. It had to be a reliable piece of equipment, and if it ever did break down, you'd have to be able to maintain it really, really easily. You'd be able to swap out parts and keep things going. Even if parts of it broke in the middle of the night, you should be able to service it without disrupting the music. So one of the pieces of technology that he made standard in discos, basically he promoted it and he installed it in all of the disco sound systems that he was building, was the Bozak mixer. And this is the story that he tells about why he chose the Bozak mixer. He basically poured a can of Coke into the mixer and checked whether it still worked. And the Bozak mixer was the only mixer that will actually survive that treatment. And so he said, well, that's reliable enough for a disco. So here's a picture of the kind of equipment that he was evaluating. Over on the right, we have Rudy Bozak, who was the developer of the Bozak mixer, together with, he had some other collaborators. One of them has the initial CM, but I can't remember the actual chap's name. The guy that is standing next to is Paul Kleepsch, and we talked about Kleepsch speakers and how that was so instrumental to the sound of disco. And the kind of mixers that you see on the left aren't music mixers. They're not really designed for turntables or tape decks or playing music of any sort. They're actually microphone mixers, the kind that maybe you'd use for a band or you'd use for, a school debate or something, where you have, a microphone for every person on stage. However, what you see over here on top is a mixer that is a mono mixer. It can take in 10 different microphones and blend it into one single signal. And at the bottom, we have a stereo mixer where each one of those microphones could be turned left or right. So combining these two ideas, we get to this, the CMA-10 2DL, which most people just call the Bozak Disco Mixer. And this was the first club standard mixer, possibly the very first commercially available stereo DJ mixer around 1970 or 1971. You could plug in turntables, you could plug in tape decks, you could plug in microphones, and you could customize it for the needs of your particular disco. So for instance, if you had 3 turntables and 1 tape deck in your turntable, you will actually customize the insides of it by inserting these cards so that you would have the proper inputs for turntables or tape decks. As you see, there are, all of the entire front panel is pretty much knobs. There are a couple of switches, but most of it are these rotary knobs. And they actually allow for very, very smooth transitions. And in fact, there are DJs today that prefer to mix with rotary controls. Eventually, you'd be able to sort of insert special effects. This was an idea introduced by one of Alex Rosner's prodigies, Richard Long, who eventually went on to start his own disco sound system company, RLA Audio. And he will come up with a request for the Bozak company to allow people to add in things like echoes, for instance, or special effects equipment. This is an updated version, the Uray 1620. It was basically a 1983 update of that original design. Things are laid out a little bit more logically from left to right. So all the inputs are on the left and it goes all the way into the right. And instead of saying, well, I need to have a custom mixer specifically for my discotheque, this particular mixer just basically allow you to switch to whatever needs that you wanted. For instance, we have 6 inputs, so now we can have up to 6 turntables. These are stereo inputs, so really it's handling 12 channels. Or you can flip them over to microphone inputs and basically mic up a band with 6 microphones if you needed to. So it's both a DJ mixer and a band mixing board, which can be very, very useful if you're a disco like, I don't know, Studio 54 or something that regularly has live performances in addition to DJs mixing on turntables. And taking the idea of a combined DJ and band mixer a little bit further, here's a mixer a little bit earlier than the last one I showed you. In 1980, Formula Sound built this one, the PM80. And one of the things that you notice in this particular series is that, first of all, you see faders. You see these sliders that go up and down to allow you to control the volume. But you also see the knobs on top, which actually allow you to adjust the quality of the sound. Do you need more bass? Do you need more treble? Or you need to cut a little bit of that? These are known as the equalizers or the EQ. And the idea that each individual sound input, whether it's stereo or mono, whether it's a microphone or a turntable, can be individually tuned. This actually comes from recording studio technology and radio station technology, but the idea that this is a mixer that's specifically built for clubs, that's specifically built for discos, and is designed for DJs to be able to use, meant that now they had the tools to be able to do these changes live. So if you wanted to take the bass drums out of a record, you could, because you could just turn the bass off. It's a little bit non-standard from what we see today, because the high frequencies are at the bottom and the low frequencies are on top. And nowadays, if you see a DJ mixer, it's the other way around. The low frequencies are at the bottom, low is low, and high is high. One thing about this particular mixer that clearly fits Rosner's criteria of maintainability is that even while the mixer is working, you can actually pull out each individual channel strip and repair the innards. So it was very, very easy to be able to service this device if one channel was broken or burnt out, for instance. So why are these mixers considered so rugged? Well, let's take a look at those knobs. Underneath those knobs, there are potentiometers. These are little rotating resistors, basically, and the further you rotate them, the higher the resistance. And that basically allows you to control the volume of a sound. In that last mixer that I showed you, there were also faders, which were these sliding well, they're faders. They're these sliding switches that allow you to sort of control the resistance and does control the volume. But the problem with both of these is that there's a lot of exposed metal, and a lot of that metal is actually carrying electrical current. So if you pour Coke on top of any of these, or a beer or cigarette ash fell into the gaps, it will gum up the works. Maybe they won't move as smoothly as anymore, and more likely they will actually just ruin the sound. Inside the Bozak, on the other hand, we had these Allen Bradley Type J components. These are potentiometers, and these were like $20 in the 1970s, so a lot of money. Each one of these knobs basically sat underneath the physical knob of a Bozak. Nowadays, if you had to find a replacement, you get an Alps Black Beauty, which is about $80 in today's dollars. And these are completely sealed. You can see if you pour liquid on top of them, yeah, they get on the metal parts, but the metal parts hopefully don't actually carry any electrical signal, or at least certainly they don't carry any sound signal. There might be some grounding at best. They're stereo, so they are designed to control both the left and the right signal at the same time. There are more esoteric kinds of potentiometers that are both more sensitive but can also sound better. Such as this, which is basically just a series of individual measured resistors. But that gets prohibitively expensive. We're getting into the hundreds of dollars for a single knob just like this. For a good long time, a lot of mixer developers, both the ones designing for clubs and the ones designing for studios, try to dissociate the electrical components of the faders and the potentiometers from the sound, from the routing of the sound. And one option was to use something called a Vactrol, which is what I have on the right. All it is basically there's a LED or a little light on one end, and there's a resistor on the other end that is sensitive to that light. And it works, but it means that the sound is always permanently colored by that optical resistor, and that's not always pleasant. Sometimes it can be. It's often used, this kind of Vactrol circuit is often used in things like compressors, for instance, if you're familiar with audio technology for audio production. What most DJ mixers use nowadays is some form of voltage controlled amplifier, or VCA, which is basically the knob does have current going through it, but it's not the current of the sound itself. All that current does is control a separate amplifier, and the sound is going through that separate amplifier. So if the quality of the fader degrades or wasn't very good to begin with, as long as the quality of the amplifier is good, the sound still sounds pretty good. There is a downside in that if you were to turn the volume all the way up, you're still hearing the sound of the amplifier. The sound has to go through that sound of that separate amplifier no matter what you do. Whereas in the case of a potentiometer or a fader, if that was directly connected to the sound, if you had it turned all the way up, basically it disappears. You've taken that resistor completely out of the circuit and you don't hear that resistor anymore. But the upside is that you get a lot more ruggedness with a VCA, because if the fader itself starts to get a bit flaky, the sound still sounds good. So over here we have a cheaper version of the Bozak. Basically, it's not made by Bozak, it's made by competitor GLI, but it's designed for DJs again, and instead of those knobs that you will rotate, you have these faders that go up and down. Again, these are cheaper components than the potentiometers. And you can see this particular mixer has gone through quite, it's had a hard life. Paint is chipped off it. I bet this one particularly actually still works. And I think this is about 1977. So the question is, what kind of abuse are DJs doing to these mixers to be able to turn a piece of electronics to this and render it in this kind of state? Well, what's happening is that in the late 70s, we started having mobile DJs. They didn't call them mobile DJs at the time. That's kind of what we call them nowadays. But they were called mobile discos or sound systems. And these are DJs that will go to where the audience is instead of being in a club, and then the audience will come to them. So you couldn't permanently install these mixers. You couldn't protect them in a cabinet or something, or place them on a surface where they're guaranteed that smoke and drinks won't fall on them. It's difficult to protect that sort of gear, and you have to carry everything, not just the mixer, but also the record players and the amplifiers. You can see in this picture in a park somewhere in the Bronx, there's a table fan that's being blown onto the amplifier just to keep it cool. And of course, you have to carry the speakers as well. And that's the innovation that starts to make the environment of hip-hop actually possible. On the right, we have Grandmaster Flowers from Brooklyn, and on the left, DJ Kool Herc, who was at the Bronx. And at the bottom, we have a breakdancer. So in 1973, Kool Herc had a mobile sound system. Grandmaster Flowers also had a sort of a mobile disco system in Brooklyn, and they will take them to different living areas, especially these high-rise residential areas where there'll be a lot of people living in a single block. And Kool Herc, for instance, had threw a party in 1973, August 11, 1973. It was a back-to-school party right at the end of the summer, designed to raise money for, I think, his sister, who just wanted to have money for buying school books and new clothes for school, back to school, right? So it's a back to school party, and he was actually using a guitar amp for his speakers. So now, these are mostly teenagers, very young teenagers getting into these parties. These are the kids who couldn't get into discos. And these parties are a great alternative to getting in trouble with gang violence, for instance. Remember, we're talking about the early 70s in New York. In fact, rival gangs will sometimes show up at these parties, and then DJs would try to get them to dance it out instead of engaging in physical violence, which is kind of the origins of breakdancing. This idea of, well, we're going to have this dance battle right now, and we're going to see who's superior to the others based on our ability to impress the audience rather than fighting it out. And at this particular party, he introduced this idea that he called the merry-go-round. I think he actually stopped the music and said, we're going to try something a little bit different. This is going to be the first technique that I'm going to demonstrate. Because what he noticed was that there were certain songs, or rather certain parts of songs, that people really, really like to breakdance to. And the energy of the whole crowd will go up, but the breakdancers in particular will get down. They go into the center of the floor and do their biggest moves when it came to those parts of the music. And I've got my turntables actually currently set up like regular record players. So if I put my record right at the edge, it's going to play the song right from the beginning. Can you hear that?
You got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. I know you got soul. Hey,
Cool.
if you did, you wouldn't be in here. I know you got soul. If you did, you wouldn't be in here. I know you got soul. If you did, you wouldn't shake that thing. Hit me with the beat. Hey.
Now, Kool Herc at this time is using, again, a guitar amplifier for his speakers. He has no way to be able to actually hear what's going on the next record that he's going to bring in. He can put it on, he can put the needle on, and he can play that sound and hear it at the same time as the audience, but there's no way for him to hear it ahead of time. But he can actually physically see what's on the record, including the grooves. So he knows which song that he's queuing up. So for instance, if I went from this song to another funk song, 70s funk song.
Say yeah. Say yeah.
So the
It takes two to make a thing go right.
Come on.
It takes two to make it out of sight. All right.
So he cut from these songs from record to record pretty much like that. It's hard to be, you can't really gauge the timing of the music because he's no way to actually listen to these records ahead of time, but he can observe the crowd. And he notices that there are certain parts of the song where the audience actually goes crazy for. Let me see if I can find it for you. This part.
It takes two to make a thing go right.
This bit where the bass line goes out, some of the instruments go out, and you just hear drums. That's called the break. And it's a standard practice in funk and disco in the 70s to have breaks. Not every single song has breaks, but many of them do. And so the idea of the merry-go-round was pretty simple. He will try to just play nothing but breaks for a while because that's what the audience seemed to be most excited for. Again, he has no way to be able to actually tell whether a break is coming or not. He has to rely entirely on his ears and his eyes.
You bad, Hank. You bad. You bad, Hank. You bad. You bad, Hank. You bad. You bad, Hank. You bad.
If it's not in your vision, don't make no decision. Hey, yeah. All right.
So that was the merry-go-round technique. This is basically playing break after break after break. And if you're a break dancer, this is really exciting because normally you get, 2 bars to be able to do your best moves. And now all of a sudden, this just keeps going on and on and on and on. It's still a little bit difficult to actually break dance to this because there's no timing. The next beat comes in whenever the record just decides that the beat is going to come in. But you're always hearing breaks back to back. Going from these big metal mixers into something that's a little bit more portable is important for these kinds of parties that are happening not just in recreational rooms, in housing projects, but also in alleyways and in parks and in basketball fields. So over here we have another GLI mixer, the Disco 3800, I think. The Meteor Clubman 1 on the right. These are clearly designed to be placed on desks. They're not meant to be mounted in a cabinet that's never going to be moved. These are meant to be taken from location to location. They have faders, so they're very susceptible to dust, but they're very, very good for quick movements if you're going from one record to another. In fact, you can see there is a fader right at the bottom, and in the case of the Meteor Clubman, it's on the bottom right, that goes from left to right. And that crossfader basically says, do I want to hear the turntable on the left or do I want to hear a turntable on the right? It's one action to be able to switch from one sound to the other. So there were a couple of tricks to sort of like, all right, we want to be able to keep playing these breaks, but we want to be able to figure out a way to be able to keep it in time so that the break dancers have an easier time. Everybody has an easier time dancing if the music actually stays in time. And it turns out there are certain records that all run about 133 beats per minute, where a full revolution of the record is actually a full bar of music. So that introduces the next technique, which is a needle drop. So let me see whether I can show you the waveforms this time. All right, so I'm going to play a record, and then what's going to happen is that I'm going to start bumping the needle to see whether I can play that same bar of music over and over again. Sometimes it's not perfect, but sometimes it's good enough. And if you get good at this and practice this often enough, you can keep that going on for a real long time. So that's called a needle drop. And it's great. It's actually a pretty good tempo for breakdancing. And this particular way of mixing was one way to be able to just keep a break going for a really long time. Some of you actually may recognize that beat from drum and bass. Are there any people who listen to drum and bass in the audience? I'm going to find that part of the song again, but this time I'm going to play it faster. And that's basically drum and bass right there. It's called this particular sound is called the Amen break from Amen Brother from the Winstons. And if you play it at 45 revolutions per minute instead of 33 revolutions per minute, you get the basic building block of drum and bass music. If there are any questions so far, please throw them into chat. I'll be happy to try to address things. So a lot of these mixers, didn't have the headphone jack. It didn't have a way for the DJs to actually be able to hear what was going on the records before the audience could. However, the studio versions, like the stuff that they were using in radios, the stuff that they were using on in recording studios, they already had headphone cueing. And in the discos, in the big clubs, they had mixers that would allow the DJs to be able to hear what was going on in a record before the audience did. So what happens if you can't afford one of those mixers? Well, if you happen to be a studious teenager who knows a little bit of electrical engineering, you might be able to just invent your own. Grandmaster Flash in the Bronx, as a teenager, he had this mixer that you see on the right, which is not even a turntable mixer, it's a microphone mixer. So it doesn't sound very good for turntables, but it can be used for turntables. And then he attached all the stuff on the left, which are two little 5-watt amplifiers that are attached to the back of this mixer. And he called this the peekaboo system. And what it really is queuing system. It's a system that allows somebody to use a pair of headphones and hear what's on the record before anyone else can. And with that, he introduces a new way of playing breaks that involve actually using that information, what you can hear. And he can then verify in his ears that things are timed correctly and lined up properly before the audience hears it. And eventually, he doesn't even need to rely on that because he starts doing other things that we talked about in the past, like taking a crayon and drawing lines on his records so that he has some sort of guide to be able to tell whether he's at the right place or not. But you need that headphone to just make sure that everything is working correctly. So let me show you what that looks like. This might be a record that he would use. And then he rewind the record like this, get it back to the beginning of the song. And you can dance to this. Anyone can dance to this. And he can vary it up, so it doesn't sound the same all the time. These tiny little breaks that you'll find on these records, a lot of jazz, some rock. Remember, we are still in the 70s. That's the basic foundation of the hip-hop beat. And this was Grandmaster Flash's quick mix technique. And he would use this to play one break for as long and vary it as much as people were still excited about it, and then he changed it up and bring in the next record right in time. So here's another example. And that's how he would switch from record to record. So, he play a whole night like this, and you can imagine you get pretty sweaty after a while because it's a lot of physical movement. But it's really fun to watch someone do this. I hope you're having fun watching this as well. Once this technique, started to catch on, and hip hop became a thing that you would even hear on the radio. People were actually starting to make hip hop records with like the Sugar Hill Gang, for instance. Then people started designing and manufacturing mixers specifically for the kind of mixing that hip hop DJs will need to do. So over here we have a ELI SL 1990, which was used, I think in, I forget the date. Just give me a sec. So this was used in Herbie Hancock's hit record Rocket by Grandmaster DST, Grandmaster D Street at the time, and now people call him Grand Mixer DXT. And it also shows up in a couple of documentaries that were made about hip hop. All right, I have a 1982 thing written on top. So you notice how the turntable faders and a crossfader are kind of on the left side of the mixer. So it's kind of an asymmetrical design. The actual action, the thing that the DJ is manipulating, is off to the side. It's a slanted wooden cabinet, although you can't really see it in this picture. It's designed for tabletop use. But you can see all the knobs are pretty crowded. They're pretty kind of squished together, and it's difficult to be able to get your fingers in there. But you know, this is what the technology looks like in 1982. Moving along a little bit, this is the Gemini MX2200 2200. DJ Cash Money used this. I believe DJ Jazzy Jeff also used this. This particular mixer, as you can see on the right side, it's a very, very small compact mixer. This particular DJ propped it up on a pair of styrofoam blocks just to be able to get it up to the height of the turntable. So it's small, it's compact, it's light, and the faders are starting to get more spaced out. It's a budget controller. Sorry, not controller. It's a budget DJ mixer that will be sold in a place like Radio Shack. And it's perfectly accessible to a young teenage DJ who wants to really, who loves the music and wants to start DJing themselves. This particular mixer had an interesting bug in it, in the design. So you see the crossfader at the bottom. Normally, if you move it from left to right slowly, you should get a nice slow increase in volume from one turntable and a decrease in volume in the other. So you got a nice little segue, and that way is ideal for disco mixing. However, this particular model, the MX2200, had an error in its engineering, which basically meant that if you move the fader just a little bit, both turntables will be on at full volume. And you had to move it all the way to the other side for one of the turntables to cut out, and it would just suddenly cut out. It wouldn't be a nice smooth fade. So he actually, so the story goes that Jazzy Jeff actually brought a whole bunch of these Gemini mixes to the Gemini headquarters in order to get them serviced. But it was there when they discovered that Jazzy Jeff was not asking them to fix this fader problem. The way that he DJ'd was necessary, that required that crossfader to work exactly the way how it was designed in the first place. He just broken the faders after moving it so much, and he needed new faders. But he really liked the way how it worked. This allowed him to do certain kinds of scratches, which I will talk about shortly, that wasn't possible with any other mix at the time. Now, Gemini actually was fascinated by this, and later on, Jazzy Jeff was already releasing records and becoming a star, released a version of this mixer with Jazzy Jeff's signature in it. But that particular version is actually not a good scratch mixer, and the reason for that is because in that version they actually fixed the fader problem, and now the fader behaves the way it was originally designed to do, which is to do a smooth fade, and that's not how it's got to work if you want to scratch like Jazzy Jeff. There are other ways to do sort of sharp cuts in and out of a sound. Over here we have a Numark mixer that has a little toggle right on the top, and you can sort of flip that up and down. And let's see, DJ Aladdin and Joe Cooley. These are DJs who will use that switch, and they'll basically switch the sound on and off. Some people call these clickers, and they because sometimes there's a bit of a clicking sound when you scratch using that fader movement, that input switch. The Numark DM1150A is made in Japan. And there's going to be a long history of Japanese designed mixers. Actually, right here, we've got a bunch of Japanese designed mixers. Because with the one thing about the hip hop culture is that it's pretty competitive, and everybody wants to see how they measure up to the competition. So just as there were breakdance battles, there were DJ battles. The Disco Mix Club was actually a British organization that started organizing a series of disco competitions for DJs to be able to see how they will compare with other DJs across the world. But the hip hop DJs really stole the show. Everybody was just excited to be able to see what these hip hop DJs could do, and that caught the eye of Japanese manufacturers. Let's see, Ozaki Electronics Manufacturing, Technics, which also made the turntables, and Vestax later on. That mixer on the right is actually my first scratch mixer, and it's as an interesting button. I'm not so sure if you can see it. I think it's marked reverse or hamster. That a hamster switch is basically a switch that you can push in, and it makes the left turntable behave as if it was plugged into the right input, and makes the right turntable behave as if it was it was attached to the left. And that was popularized by DJ Quest of the what's the name? The Bulletproof Scratch Hamsters, which was a DJ crew who was used to wiring up his turntables in that cross position and found certain kinds of scratches easier to do. If you're interested, I can talk about the rationale behind that. But it's really personal taste, and having a nice convenient switch at the top allowed different DJs to use the same mixer without having to constantly reconnect the turntables. Also, notice how both the DJ in the slide that I have down there, as well as my own turntables, this isn't actually the position of where a turntable should be. Like normally, I should be looking at a turntable in this direction, not this direction. I shouldn't be facing a turntable for this direction. But scratch DJs like this position, which they call battle mode for those DJ battles, because it gets this very, very sensitive tone arm out of the way when our hands are moving. So this is what a battle mode configuration, 2 turntables and a mixer in the middle, arranged in this sort of 90-degree rotated position. Vestax also introduced other innovations, such as crossfader curves, when the idea that, well, some people still want the crossfader to go smoothly from left to right, and some hip-hop DJs want the records to go to full volume if you just move it a little bit. So how do we make everyone happy? Over here in the PMC-05 Pro, which is one of the legendary battle mixers of all time, you can see on the top right you have a knob that just basically allows the DJ to dial it in to their preference. Do they want to have it blend smoothly, or do they want it to have it cut? So let me give you a demonstration of that. So I also have a knob very much like that on my own turntables. So if I did it on the smooth setting, it sounds a bit like this. Sorry, I haven't started yet. So it's a smooth setting. It sounds pretty smooth when you go back and forth. And I'll go back to that first song. Now, if I turn my my crossfader curve the complete opposite way, now when I move it just slightly, it's going to come in at full volume. So I just moved it like a centimeter. And in fact, this particular mix I'm using is so sensitive, I can just move it by about 5 millimeters and it will cut in. And the reason why I have it set at 5 millimeters is because that's what makes it comfortable for me to mix. And there's different tweaks that you can do, and nowadays you can just do all the tweaks in software, so it's not even like you have to pull out a soldering iron or anything. So let's hear some scratches. The idea of a scratch is pretty simple. We get a sound. For instance, oops. It would help if I turn the volume up first. So this is actually from a record called Change the Beat. I've got it right here, but I'm playing a digital version of it instead. And it's the same song on both sides, only on one side it's in English and the other side is in French. And right at the end, I believe, of the French side, you hear this particular series of sounds.
This stuff is really fresh.
So it's the sound of the recording engineer actually just ad-libbing, adding this, vocoded sound is a cool synthesized version of their voice. That's kind of the coda of that record. But it's got a whole bunch of really, really interesting words, and their sonic quality, because it's such a dense sound, allows a DJ to coax a lot of different sounds out of it. So for instance, the fresh sound, that's what it sounds like on the record. And then if I slow it down, so depending on just how fast I move the record, I get different pitches out of it. And so if I go fast, slow, I'll get some things that sounds rhythmic and a bit melodic at the same time. So that's called a baby scratch, where you just go forward, back. You're not using your other hands to do anything. You're just using one hand moving a record back and forth. But once you add the faders, you can do various things that aren't just moving the record back and forth. So, instance, if I hear the R sound, oh, sorry, that's the fresh sound. So,
This stuff is really fresh.
so that R sound. If I use the fader, I can bring it back without you hearing me bringing it back. This is called a forward scratch. Now I could do it in reverse. And that's called a reverse, naturally. I could also do things like just moving forward, and then while I move it forward, I just very briefly move the crossfader. That's called a stab. There's a description of what that sound sounds like. It sounds like a Hollywood stabbing sound. And all of the forward movement and backward movement is entirely from my hand. Yes, the turntable platter is spinning, but I'm not actually relying on the turntable platter to keep time for me, as opposed to a forward, where I'm actually lifting my hand completely off the record and letting the turntable platter do its job. Other things, let's see, here's a scratch that was popularized by Jazzy Jeff, although I can't remember if he was the first one to do it. Definitely popular in Philadelphia, which is a chirp. So that is, you move the sound forward while I turn off the fader, and then when I bring it back, I turn it on again. So that's called a chirp. It sort of takes advantage of the fact that the beginning of the sound, as you can see, has this really, really sharp beginning. It's sort of like it's got a sharp beginning, and then it's kind of got a wimpy ending to the sound. But if I cut off that sound using the fader, it sounds like both the start and the end are kind of percussive. Sorry. And you can take that idea a little bit further and just let the sound play out and then break it up using the fader. Some people thought, at the time, the Transformers TV show was on TV, and some people thought this sounded like that sound effect that they had in the Transformers, Autobots transform and roll out. Right? Something like that. That's what the sound sounds like. So this is called a transform scratch. What else do we have? chirps. We have tears, which are just, instead of moving it forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, I can break up that moving forward. So that's like a tear, or that's four tear movements. I can make it three, so break up the forward and then I pull back. What else? Flares. Flares are when you move the record forward and then you do a one transform when it's going forward and one transform when it's going back. So you it sounds a bit like this. Sorry. And you do it fast, it goes. So my right hand's doing a lot of the work, but the left hand, which has the larger record to be able to manipulate, doesn't have to move quite so quickly for me to get a lot of sounds out. There are also like little code names for versions of all of the scratches that I show you. So for instance, this is a baby scratch, and this is scribble. So, it really didn't need a separate name, but when people say scribble, DJs know that's a fast baby scratch. Gosh, I'm wondering if I've missed any of the fundamental scratches, but those are a bunch of the fundamentals. And the story of how the scratch was invented was Grand Wizard Theodore, which was actually a young friend of Grandmaster Flash, before he, at the time when he was just called Theodore. He liked to put on mixtapes for his friends at school. I believe they actually played them in the break room during lunch break. And he had his records, he had a tape recorder, and while he was queuing up one of his songs, he was hearing it on his headphones, and he was about to bring the record in, so he turned on the fader, and he was getting ready to do this when his mom came into the door, extremely angry at him, and told him to turn down the music because it was like midnight or something. It was really late at night and she needed to get some sleep. So he was really, really scared, but he kept doing this. Or possibly he was so scared that it sounded more like dad because he was nervous. But he didn't realize what he was doing until he listened to the tape later, and then he realized, oh wait, that's actually a really, really cool sound. What can I do with the sound? Hence, the beginning of the scratch, and that is a fundamental sound of DJing. So I have to say, I never really understood the sort of the purpose of the scratch, other than let's make a cool sound, until I actually saw Grandmaster Flash combine it with his quick mix technique. So if you had a beat, so for instance, here's Aretha Franklin. All right, quick mix. Same thing I did last time, right? But now I can, before the beat comes in. Oops, I hit the microphone. So believe it or not, that's actually easier than just quick mixing and looping the same part of the music over and over again, because that hand motion helps you get into the pocket. That's a musician's term of getting in time with the rest of the band. And so I get a sense of what the incoming beat is going to be like even before I fully let go of the record. And I can make sort of minor adjustments so that when I actually do let go of the record, it comes in great. You can think of as the DJ as being a drummer in this particular sense, and I'm just adding a few extra drum beats. So it feels like more like a drum fill before the beginning of the before I bring in the next record. And of course, that record doesn't have to be the same record over and over and over again. It could be a completely different sound. Um, Now, all of this quick mixer movements on the faders can be pretty rough on the faders, and we already talked about how sensitive they are to things like dust and coke. And so I would say the 90s, there was a pretty concerted effort from both manufacturers and DJs to try to figure out ways how to make the crossfader in particular, which got the most abuse, a little bit more reliable. So contactless crossfaders that will go left and right, but didn't actually have to make contact with anything in particular to conduct electricity, became a field of research. The first one, I believe, was an optical fader called the focus fader. And what it did was it basically had LEDs, and every time you moved the crossfader, it will block one of those LEDs. It will only allow you to do these very sharp cuts. You couldn't do a smooth blend using this fader. But because the moving parts were completely dissociated with the electronic parts, it would last a much longer time. And it could, and even if some coke got in it, it would technically still work, unless it completely blocked the LED and the fader. Other versions include the magnetic faders. So Rain, I believe, was the first one to introduce a magnetic crossfader where they use semiconductors that respond differently depending on the position of a magnet, and then the fader that moves left and right has a magnet on it. Right now, a very popular kind of fader is a capacitive fader by Innofader, where they put an electric field on the fader, and then the fader has another piece of plastic, I believe, conductive plastic, that moves through the electric field, and through that it can sort of tell where the fader is. And there is a mysterious inductive crossfader designed by Vestax that, if anyone's interested in, we can sort of dish on that. But it's I can't say that I fully understand how it works. Okay, let me skip forward. Right now, we're in an interesting time in mixer design because there is a push towards minimalism. On the left, we have a rotary mixer that is kind of a much more simplified version of some of the rotary mixers I showed at the beginning of this presentation. And on the right, we have a Raiden RPM 100 mixer that is a simplified DJ battle mixer. These are designed for portability, but also designed to sort of focus the DJ's attention on just a few things. And on the bottom right, we have the Tokyo Cutter, which is just a crossfader. You plug in two sound sources, and you can go left and right, and that's it. You can't even control the volume. You can just turn it on and off. And obviously, these things are attractive because they're so portable. And right now, with everything else getting smaller and lighter, we've got days and days of music in our pockets right now. Why shouldn't we also have mixers that can connect our phones together and allow us to mix without carrying a whole lot of additional equipment? And of course, in the opposite end, we have feature overload, right? We have mixers that try to take a little bit of DJ battle mixers, a little bit of the disco style rotary mixers, a little bit of the studio band EQ mixer, and all crush them into one big device. So on the top right, actually, we have a mixer designed by Grandmaster Flash, but amazingly enough, it actually has rotary knobs and a battle style crossfader. And we have various esoteric components. Like in the bottom right, we have a mixer that actually uses valves, so tubes that you'd think would not be very popular nowadays, but has a very, very interesting, lovely sound actually, and great for sort of vinyl purists. On the left, we have a mixer, the Zone 92, that's very popular among techno DJs because it allows a lot of fine control over the sound itself, not just the volume and which one you're hearing, but also the quality of that sound. It allows you to sort of play around with that sound in really fun ways. And of course, we have digital technology. now mixers don't even their primary job isn't always just to blend two sources of music anymore. Sometimes they are the source of music. They're actually producing the sounds because they're connected to a computer, which is basically acting as a giant hard drive with your music library on it, and then that sound's actually generated inside the mixer itself. That's the kind of mixer that I currently use. So I will be talking a little bit more about digital audio next Friday. So please do join me at 2 o'clock Eastern time for that. And for the rest of this hour, now we just crossed over to 3 o'clock, I'm just going to play some hip hop. While I get things ready, I'd love it if you actually had any questions to put them in chat, whether that's Twitch chat or in the class chat, or if you're in the Zoom room, you can just turn on your mic. I can hear it, and the folks on the stream will be able to hear it as well. I'm DJ Philip Tan. I will be doing this next week when I talk about house and techno, and talking about how digital audio sort of influences the way how people mix and produce music, and that how that influences the sound of house and techno. Much of the music I'm going to be playing today is boom bap, which is actually kind of a term that was retroactively applied to a lot of the music, a lot of the hip hop of the late 80s and the early 90s. Sometimes people call this time period the golden age of hip hop, basically the years before the untimely deaths of Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. So I will be mostly playing music from there. There's no way that I can cover every single genre. There's just way too many genres of hip hop. Hip hop is nothing if not prolific. But I will try my best. And please do, if you like anything that you're hearing, please let me know in the chat, because otherwise, I'm just going to try to cut as fast as I can from song to song to song to song. And if you're really digging something, your song may end prematurely because I didn't know people were actually enjoying it. I have a lot of music prepared today. So yeah. Oh, shout out to Charles. I'm glad that you could join us today. All of this is archived on YouTube, by the way. It will take me about a weekend to be able to get it properly edited and uploaded onto YouTube. But you should be able to watch it this week. Also, that parental advisory explicit content label. You have been warned. How many of you remember that? Do they still put that on records? I mean, they can't. Everything's downloadable now, right? Hey, DJ Panda, yeah. DJ Panda's noting that the label shows up on records if you buy it from a big box store. So I'm glad that they're using it. That's really kind of silly, isn't it?
Give me all your numbers so I can phone ya. Your girl acting stink, then call me over. Not on the bed, lay me on your sofa. Call before you come, I need to shave my cha-cha. You do or you don't, or you will, I won't cha. Go downtown and eat it like a vulture. See my hips, big hips, so cha. See my butts and my lips, don't cha. Lost a few pounds in my waist, oh yeah. This the kind of beat that go ba-ta-ta. Ba-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Sex me so good I say blah, blah, blah. Work it, I need a glass of water. Boy, oh boy, it's good to know ya. Is it worth it? Let me work it. I put my thing down, flip it and reverse it. It's your primitive, it's why I need number. It's your primitive, it's why I need. If you got a big, let me search it to find out how hard I gotta work. Yeah, it's your primitive, it's why I need number. It's your primitive, it's why I need number. Yeah, yeah.
my songs on, I gotta get my brub on some Toto. Order 3 buckets of Momo, we getting more dough off the books. You getting jelly? Pulling more hoes off the look. You getting jelly? You wanna hate me? Cause your wifey wants an autograph from looking in her eyes. I can see she wants more than that. When I see fat asses, I make fat passes like quarterback. Beat nuts is all of that. Your shit, order whack. Open candela if you fooling with my cheddar. Hard rock ever since junior high. Swell, I fly fella. Taking my beats to make your crowd get up. I'm fed up. Niggas wanna bring it? Whatever. I'ma storm your parade. Blow your legs off with a grenade. Now you flapping like a mermaid. Yapping off with your cough and the lips while I'm at the bar. Bagging the bartender tips. Then I bag this chick with a high in the eye. She did the butterfly. Rubbing her ass against my button fly. I could already imagine my shit stuck inside. Every time I strike, haters be like that. Fucking guy. How's that, Joe? It's hard for you to swallow. It don't take much for us to let the metal holler. That's personality for old black and pala. Talk nigga only fuck with muchacha mala. Big Jew, dímelo coño, how we do? How we do? Don't only love me, they love you. What you gonna do? What? Nigga, what you gonna do? Here's some Apollyon niggas who campaign to the killers who be loving the chicas and champagne. Thugs who get wild in the club and snatch chain. Players who be pimping the hoes with no brains. So watch a nigga get shot from close range. The most strange, crazy motherfucker won't change. Beat nuts forever die hard. You want pain? Cause you walking out of here breathing is insane.
Come on. Ha, sicker than your average. Pop a twist cabbage off instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink gators, my Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right, if the head right, Biggie there, and night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruise, cruise, who? Do something to us. Talk, go through us. Girls want to us, wanna do us, screw us. Who us? Yeah, Papa and Pump. Close like Starsky and Hutch, stick to clutch. Yeah, I squeeze 3 at your cherry M3. Bang every MC easily.
Take that.
Recently, niggas frontin' ain't saying nothing, so I just speak my peace, keep my peace. Cubans with the Jesus peace, with my peace. Packing, asking who want it. You got it, nigga, flaunt it. That Brooklyn bullshit, we on it.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake.
I put
Yeah, this one right here goes out to all the babies, mamas. Baby mamas. Yeah, go like this. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times.
My baby is drama, mama. Don't like me. She doing things like having the boys come from her neighborhood to the studio trying to fight me. She need to get a piece of the American pie and take her bite out. That's my house. I disconnect the cable and turn the lights on.
Just managed to call you out earlier. Also thanks to Lucas, Rob, Stefan. Who else is in the class today? Julia, Daniel, Pablo, Shannon, Tony. And on Twitch we've got Charles, DJ Panda, Antidote. Thank you for joining me today.
Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion times. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to make your daughter cry. I apologize a trillion.
Yo, Lauren, line up the place. See?
It's funny how money changes situation. Miscommunication lead to complication. My emancipation don't fit your equation. I was on the humble, you on every station. Someone play young Lauren like she done. But remember not to game new under the sun. Everything you did has already been done. I know all the tricks from bricks to Kingston. My ting done, major kingdom, one wrong. Now understand L Boogie, not violent. But if a thing test me, run for me gun. Can't take a threat to me newborn son. L been this way since creation. A groupie call you far from temptation. Now you on ball over separation. Tarnish my
Digging Lauryn Hill.
Who you gon' scrimmage like you the champion. You might win some, but you just lost one. You might win some, but you just lost one. You might win some, but you just lost one.
Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me act a fool. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me lose my cool. Up in here, up in here. If I got to bring it to you cowards, then it's gonna be quick. Alright, all your men that been in jail before, suck my dick. And all the motherfuckers you run with, get done with, dumb quick. How the fuck you gonna approach the dog with some bum shit? Aight, they go to gun click, 911 shit, all over some dumb shit. Ain't that some shit? And niggas remind me of a strip club. Cause every time you come around, it's like, what? I just gotta get my dick sucked. And I don't know who the fuck you think you talking to, but I'm not him, aight, Slim, so watch what you do. Or you gon' find yourself very next to someone else. And we all thought you loved yourself, but that couldn't have been the issue. Or maybe they just saying that now cause they miss you. Shit, a nigga tried to diss you. That's why you laying on your back, looking at the roof of the church. Preacher telling the truth and it hurts. Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me act a fool. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me lose my cool. Up in here, up in here. Bust the rhyme now, MOP now. What you want now? What you want now? What you want now? What you want now? What you want? Cut that fool. They wanna act stupid, gun butt that fool. When I cock that tone, nigga, run your damn jaw. Before we fuck around and lay you up in your own blood pool, nigga. Hunt you down, nigga, run your ass down. Unleash the hounds till them niggas to gun your ass down. You frontin' like this was a thing in the past. With tattoos over the scars, a nigga left on your ass. My niggas think lopsided, bust they got cross-sided in the subways. They rob trains running alongside it. See, motherfucker, we don't play for that shit. And if you want your shit back, you had to pay for that shit. You little costume niggas, romper room niggas, get you in the night or early in the afternoon, niggas. We taking your whole shit while we pass through. Even the shirt off your back, nigga, run that too.
I catch you backstage, give me the keys to the Escalade. You think you cute, ho? Take off them Gucci shades. I get my dog to you, you dirty. They all 730, rock a ski mask, whether it's June or February. I take your show money, take your drum money. Yo, yap that fool, cause I don't know money for my peeps that hate slow money. I put them in the industry so they can come and take all your money. Wish I could bring pun back. Bitch, run that. Bitch, run that. Bitch, run that. So keep acting like you don't know where the fun's at. And I'ma show y'all motherfuckers where the gun's at. Yo, yap that bitch. She tryna spaz out, then smack that bitch. Oh, you don't be rhyming. You still memorizing. Remy want them goddamn diamonds.
All right, let's head over to the West Coast.
Everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a slug to your chest. Like a vest for your Jimmy in the city of sex. We in that sunshine state where the bomb ass him be. The state where you never find a dance floor empty and pimp speed. On a mission for them greens. Lean, mean, money making machines, serving fiends. I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes. Ever since Honeys was wearing Sassoon, now it's 95 and they clock me and watch me diamond shining, looking like a Rob Liberace. It's all good, from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the bomb if your city making pay. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Straight putting it down for California, yeah. West Coast.
white moon, Warren G was on the streets trying to consume some skirts for the E, so I could get some phones. Rolling in my ride, chilling all alone.
Just hit the east side of the LBC on a mission trying to find Mr. Warren G. Seen a car full of girls, ain't no need to tweak. All of you search know what's up with 213.
So I hooked a left on 21 and Lewis. Some brothers shooting dice, so I said, let's do this. I jumped out the ride and said, what's up? Some brothers pulled some gas, so I said, I'm stuck.
Since these girls peeping me, I'm gonna glide and swerve. These hookers looking so hard, they straight hit the curve. Want to bigger, better things than some horny tricks. I see my homie and some suckers all in his mix.
I'm getting jacked, I'm breaking myself. I can't believe they taking Warren's wealth. They took
Hope you're digging these G-Funk vibes.
I looked at the brother, said, damn, what's next?
They got my homie hemmed up and they all around. Can't none of them see him if they going straight pound for pound. They wanna come up real quick before they start to clown. I best pull out my strap and lay them busters down.
They got guns to my head, I think I'm going down. I can't believe it's happening.
Yeah, Charles, an old Michael McDonald vibe.
Fly, let me contemplate. I glance in the cut and I see my homie Nate.
16 in the clip and 1 in the hole. Nate Dogg is about to make some bodies turn cold. Now they dropping and yelling, it's a tad bit late. Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate.
How many folks remember the G-Funk?
To the folk, Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up.
Cause you know we're about to rip shit up.
Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Too loped out niggas, so we're crazy. Death Row is the label that pays me. Unfadable, so please don't try to fake this. But back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfected, so I'ma let them understand. From a young G's perspective. And before me dig on a bitch, I have to find a contraceptive. You never know, she could be earning her man and learning her man. And at the same time burning her man. Now you know I ain't with that shit, Lieutenant. Ain't no pussy good enough to get burned while I'm offended. Yeah. And that's realer than real deal, Holyfield. And now you hookers and hoes know how I feel. Well, if it's good enough to get broke off a proper chunk, I take a small piece of some of that funky stuff. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and Drake creep to the mic like a fan.
Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping, but I damn near got caught cause my beeper kept beeping. Now it's time for me to make my impression felt. So sit back, relax and strap on your seatbelt. You've never been on a ride like this before. With a producer who can rap and control the maestro. At the same time with the dope rhyme that I kick. You know and I know I flow some old funky shit to add to my collection.
Gotta let the DJ have his time, Dr. Dre.
But don't choke if you do, you have no clue of what me and my homie Snoop Dogg came to do. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this. And who gives a fuck about those?
So just chill to the next episode.
Hey Daniel, thanks. Sorry I missed you earlier. And thank you so much for the kind words.
Falling back on that.
Player, give me some brew and I might just chill. But I'm the type that like to light another joint like Cypress Hill. I still do be spit loogies when I puff on it. I got some bucks on it, but it ain't enough on it. Go get the S-T-I-D-E-S. Nevertheless, I'm hella fresh, rolling joints like a cigarette. So pass it across the table like ping pong. I'm gone, beating my chest like King Kong. It's on, wrap my lips around the.
There's one thing that the West Coast got right. Bass lines.
Homie ain't my homie to be It's too many heads to be. Probably let my friend hit bit. Unless you pull out the fat crispy $5 bill on the real before it's history. Cause fools be having them vacuum lungs. And if you let them hit it for free, you hella dumb, dumb. I come to school with a Taylor on my earlobe. Avoiding all the flick teasers, skeezers, and weirdos. Got me throwing off the land like where the bomb at. Give me $2, you take a puff and pass my bomb back. Suck up the dank like a Slurpee. The serious bomb will make a nigga go delirious like Eddie Murphy. I got more growing pains than Maggie. Cause homies snagged me to take the dank out of the baggie.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job, had second hands. Moms bounced on old men. So then we moved to Shaolin Land. A young youth, you're rocking the go-to. Low goose, only way I begin to G-York was drug loot. And let's start it like this, son. Rolling with this one and that one. Pulling out gats for fun. But it was just a dream for the team who was a fiend. Started smoking wools at 16. And running up in gates and doing hits for high stakes. Making my way on fire skates. No question I was speed for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed. No question I would flow off and try to get the dough off. Sticking up white boys on ballboards. My life got no better. Same damn low sweater. Times is rough and tough like leather. Figured out I went the wrong route. So I got with a sick ass click and went all out. Catching keys from cross seas. Rolling in MPVs. Every week we made 40 G's. Yo, nigga, respect my a nigga to tech notch. Bow. Move from the gate now.
Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
It's been 22 long, hard years. I'm still struggling. Survival got me bugging, but I'm alive on arrival. I beat back the shape of the streets to stay awake to the ways of the world, cause shit is deep. I'm in with the dream, with plans to make cream, which fail. I went to jail at the age of 15, a young buck selling drugs and such, who never had much, trying to get a clutch of what I could not. The court played me short, now I face incarceration. Pacing, going upstate's my destination. Handcuffed in back of a bus, 40 of us. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough. But as the world turned, I learned life was hell. Living in the world no different from a cell. Every day I escape from Jake's, giving chase, selling bass, smoking bones in the staircase. Though I don't know why I chose to smoke cess. I guess that's the time when I'm not depressed, but I'm still depressed. And I ask, what's your work? Ready to give up, so I seek the old earth, who explain working hard may help you maintain. To learn to overcome the heartaches and pain. You got stick up kids, corrupt cops, and crack rocks and stray shots. All on the block that stays hot. Leave it up to me while I be living proof. To kick the truth to the young black youth. When shorties running wild, smoking cess, drinking beer. And ain't trying to hear what I'm kicking in his ear. Neglected for now, but yo, it got to be accepted. That what? The life is hectic.
Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash moves everything around me. Niggas got to get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash can't just get by around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Give a shout out to the Wu-Tang Clan and J Dilla. One of the most innovative producers.
I wasn't sleeping, I was creeping, sliding, hiding. I would lock the door behind me, roll up fat, tight and thinking, mentally sinking, presently brinking, 2 decades and a half, rate up half of mine to follow. The world is hollow, yet it's full of crap, prepare to gamble. I give you half of the tips and tips, what's to come, I cried a ton of tears, drunk a ton of beers, burned the fears, but learned to persevere throughout the years, kept my ears open, eyes open, mouth locked. To rock the boat, if you can't swim, nobody may not be there with a limb to lend, this is the end, still I can't explain the fact. Why the gotta be like that? Like that. Why is it gotta be know why I said it. Hear me clear and know it's so severe and dreaded that they need to be beheaded. Why? I'm readily, steadily stimulating and mutilating all sloppily. copied imitations cause they're irritating. So I'm intimidating them over the snare. Simply a stare, bringing them turbulent tether. And they know this cause they can feel it. He knew that it was mine, still the sucker tried to steal it. So I had to reveal it through proving that I am astonishing and flying by just winking my eye. In a flash, I flush out the fakes, laying low key. Trained eyes locate to focus on the phony. Mr. Some Tommy homie, why he act like that? Thought he had my back, thought he had all backs, but it was him who I should have never trusted. And not at least until he got his attitude adjusted. Or mouth busted for acting all dusted. But bust this now, when I'm out I seek and sort out the whole scene for all sinister type sneaks that scheme. They come into my face, I send them type men home when they be suffering from the double agent syndrome. Why it gotta be like that? Like that, yeah. Like that. Why it's gotta be like that? Like that. Why it's gotta be like
the bow-legged one. Yeah. What's your...
All right, let's try to get this a little bit faster.
That sounds sexy. Here I go, here I go, here I go again, girls. What's my weakness? Okay, then chillin', minding my business. Your souls, I looked around and I couldn't believe this. I swear, I stand, my niece, my witness. The brother had it going on with something kinda wicked. Had to kick it. I'm not shy, so I asked for the digits. I hope no, that don't make me see what I want. Slip, slide to it swiftly. Felt it in my hips, so I dip back to my bag of tricks. Then I flip for a tip, made me wanna do tricks on them, lick them like a lollipop should be lit. Came to my senses and I chill for a bit. Don't know how you do the voodoo that you do so well. It's a spell, hell makes me wanna shoot.
Hey, thanks, Lucas. I really appreciate that. You notice I'm not beat matching all that much. I mean, the songs are close enough that I don't really have to. And I'm really just cutting from song to song, so I don't really have to blend them so much. That's most hip-hop DJing right there.
Let's get up, let's get down. Roll with the hardcore funk, the hardcore sound. Let's get with this Macadocious funk material, so simple. When I rock with the instrumental, who am I?
Indeed, the green-eyed bandit.
Control my career so I can never get stranded. But the rest are getting brand new, being changed up their style from jeans to suits and thinking about a pop record. Something made for the station, for a whole new relationship of a new type of scene to go platinum and clock mad green, aka a sellout, the rap definition. Get off that boy, change your mission. Come back around the block. Pump color me bad to the tick-tock. Let them know your logo, not a black thing. My background sing for the crossover. The crossover.
A gangstar has got to be the sure shot. Nice and smooth has got to be the sure shot. A Greg Nice, a Greg NLCE. Dominum basso, we rock for a fee, not for free. Maybe I'll do it for charity. Now my employer or my employee is making Greg NLCE very MAD. Don't never ever think of jerking me. I work too hard for my royalty. Put lead in your ass and drink a cup of tea. Peace to Red Alert and Kid Capri. I say Muhammad Ali, you say glass is clay. I say butter, you say parquet. It's alright if you wanna make a sway. On my way uptown, took the deuce to the trade. I originate, they duplicate.
Hey Heidi, good to see you. Yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, but hopefully I can get some rest this weekend.
1 year later, peace out, premiere, take me out with the fader.
DJ Premier.
She now likes the launch, but she used to dig the spinners. First with the style from the birth canal. And now I got the fake to make the crowd go wow. So dig it. Watch me kick it. I'm taking no shorts unless it's coming from a midget. I packs the piece more than chicken packs grease. I'm usually knocking boots, but I'm not out knock teeth. Gaga, ooh, Christ the baby. Smacked on the ass, now they're doing all's crazy. No rattles or playpins,
kinda knew it. Now witness the birth of Mr. Funk.
The really, really, really real, yo.
There's just one thing I wanna say.
Copy, 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 copy.
There's just one thing I wanna say.
We gonna hit it down like this, y'all know the flavor.
There's just one thing I wanna say.
Alamo, is you with me?
What goes around comes back around again.
Stud Doogie, is you with me?
What goes around comes back around again.
SOS, is you with me?
What goes around comes back around again.
Yeah, this how we gonna bust it down, y'all. You know the flavor. You know what time is it? Check it, yo. This how we flow. Here comes the booba, and you know I won't fake it. Usually bust records on getting butt naked. Made for the Benzie. Drive a nigga skinsy, pump the tape, grab your naked with the pool bar frenzy. Come on, honey, thing, don't ya try to eject slow downs. What you say once my joint gets erect? Some try to copy, but they just can't sketch it. Some try to follow, but they just can't catch it with the boom, boom, tap, yeah, all of that. I'm living fat, me fall off, there be none of that. See, who's the one to flip it? Quick to tell a nigga to zip it, so drink the 40, cause we ain't got time to sip it. Grand Pooba got body. Kick some of them, some of those, and some yachty. As dope as they come, suckers sing or hum. Don't try to step to this, you know your shit is slum. First batter up, well here's the pitch, it's a curve. Second batter up because the first got served. The one who arouses a browse for a blouse, kick styles by the piles as I leave a chill for miles. Skis when I please, hit from here to Tel Aviv. I'm getting G's, no more time for the line of free cheese. Here's the 411, huh? The one who gets the job done, I know you know the flavor of the Pooh-Bah. Yeah, 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 nah, 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 nah. This how we bump it, yo. You know what I'm saying? Big Jeff in the house. We gon' move it like this.
Tramp.
What you call me?
Tramp.
You did.
Tramp.
What you call me?
Tramp.
You did.
Tramp.
What you call me?
Tramp.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles, I love this verse.
So, ooh, chit-chit, wobble up this kit. Rip it if it's specific, don't get horrific when I kicks it. Chitty, chitty, bang, bang, pepper the pew. Lash move, yo, I ain't got nothing to prove.
Lash move, yo, we don't got nothing to prove. Lash move, yo, we don't got nothing to prove. Lash move, yo, we don't got nothing to prove. Lash move, yo, we don't got nothing to prove.
Now here I go.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Brooklyn's in the house, so come on now. Brooklyn's in the house, yo. Staten Island is in the house. Staten Island is in the house. So let me hear you say Queens is in the house. Come on now. Queens is in the house. Long Island is in the house. Say what? Long Island is in the house. Yeah, the Bronx is in the house. The Bronx is in the house. Let me hear you say Uptown's in the house one time. Uptown's in the house. But they're falling, but I can catch them. I just toot the whistle and you go fetch them. Bring them back to the real rap attack. Set the soft silly stuff back on the rack. 45, 45. Tell us silly mothers that we don't give a. I'm not a psychic, but you can tell your sidekick in 91 lighters kicking some fly. Take it from me, or could you really take it? And if you got away with it, would you really make it? In the world of hip hop, frontin' like you me? Come on now, hops, that I could never see. So just step aside and feel it tonight. Cause coming to a store near you is NC Light.
Alright, I'm gonna speed through some of the genres a little bit because I've only got 15 minutes left.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry I can't get through. Why don't you leave your name and your number, and I'll get back to you. Hey, how are you doing? Sorry I can't get through. Why don't you leave your name and your number, and I'll get back to you. Once again, it's another rap bandit, fiending an eye, and I can't stand it. Wanna be down with the day glow, knocking on my door saying, hey yo yo. Knocking on my door saying, hey yo yo, I got a funky new tune with a fly banjo. I can't understand what the problem is. I find it hard enough dealing with my own biz. How they get my name and number? Then I stop and think and wonder about a plan. Yo man, I gotta step outside. You wanna call me up? Take my number down. It's 2222222. I got an answer machine that can talk to you. It goes,
hey, how you doing? Sorry I can't get through, but what your name and your number, and I'll get back to you. Yo, check it.
Surprised you're on my D. D-A-S-T-I-E. What up, my D? Oh, yeah. That's me. I got franks and pork and beans. Always bust the new routines. I get it, I got it, I know it's good. The rhymes are right, you wish you would. I'm never in training, my voice is not straining. People always biting and I'm sick of complaining. So I went into the locker room during classes. Went into your locker and I smashed your glasses. You're from St. Caucus, I'm from Manhattan. You're jealous of me because your girlfriend is catting. Kick it!
Hey, Janice.
Reporters climb, producers jive. They wanna be down with the king. The wanted man from the wanted clan. Wanted by
MC complete. Who's high? Runs high. Who's high?
LL Cool J is hard as hell. Battle anybody, I don't care, you tell. I excel, they all fail. Go tell double L must rock the bell.
All right, gonna try that again.
LL Cool J is hard as hell. LL Cool J is hard as hell. LL Cool J. LL Cool J. LL Cool J is hard as hell. Battle anybody, I don't care, you tell. I excel, they all fail. Gonna tell double L must rock the bell.
Jeff invented that.
What is a MC if you can't rap? What is a beat without a live clap? Well, I can do it all, baby, just like that. What is a DJ if you can't scratch? What is a MC if you can't rap? What is a beat without a live clap? Well, I can do it all, baby, just like that. A party people all around. Can you get down? I wanna see you dance to my dangerous beat. Everybody free.
Alright, a little electro.
Baby down, you know who I am. I rock two turntables with Uncle Jam. I'm the Egyptian lover, baby, I'm number one. I'm a mix of scratch and rap and loving son of a gun. Rock the live dances on a freaky night with the Egyptian lover. It's gonna be right, make All the pretty girls scream while they dance, 'cause I'm the Egyptian lover, king of romance. What is a DJ if you can't scratch? What is a MC if you can't rap? What is a beat without a live clap? Well, I can do it all, baby, just like that. Baby, 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 baby.
Going back to my breakdance roots.
3 words of the wax, still me still back. Getting down and then giving no slack like a Burger King with the sack of Big Macs. We're throwing down and with the rockables hats on time. In your mind, see, you gotta book it to your best ability. You gotta funk it up until it knocks you down. And when you're bumping up, make sure you pass it around. Come on, let's go to work. We got what'll make your body jerk. Make you throw your hands up in the air, shake your booty and scream, oh yeah, 'cause we are the jam on crew and jamming on niggas how we do the do.
Stefan, I was very, very little, and anything I would have had recorded on my breakdancing would have been in VHS and very moldy by now. Janice, they're calling out Tim Maya, Brazilian disco funk soul artist. So definitely check out that artist. This is getting to freestyle. I'm not going to go all the way into freestyle, but a little bit. Charles over at the Twitch chat also giving a thumbs up to Tim Maya. The Rocksteady Crew was a b-boy group, Puerto Rican, I think, and one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, just hit me. Just taste the funk and hit me. Just get on down and hit me. That body's getting so funky now, hit me.
All right, we got like 5 minutes left. Do I scratch or do I play Miami bass?
Make your body sway, socialize. Get down. Let your soul lead the way. Shake it now. Go, ladies. It's a living dream. Love life.
People can vote in chat.
Play the game. Our world is free. Do what you want, but free.
Got 1 vote for scratching. Another vote for Miami bass.
Where the nights are hot, it is a house of both females and males. Both young and old. For the disco, the DJ plays your favorite blast. Takes it back.
Janice, we'll be talking about house music next week, and yeah, they're using the same drum machines as house music, or at least early house music. All right, I'm going to scratch over Miami bass. I think that's a good compromise. Okay.
Check it, direct it, let's begin. Party on, party people, let me hear some noise. DC's in the house, jump, jump, rejoices. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These three words mean you're getting busy. Whoop, there it is, hit me. All you folks what it's all about. Now it's time for it to get on the mic and make this mother party hot. I'm taking it back to the old school, cause I'm an old fool who's so cool. If you wanna get down, I'ma show you the way. There it is, let me hear you say.
The MTV Party to Go collection. I'm not gonna play Baby Got Back, I'm almost out of time. Alright, I'm gonna end with this one track. One of my favorite breaking tracks of all time, Breaker's Revenge by Arthur Baker. Boston represent. Hope you all have a great weekend. And I will see you next week, hopefully. Next Friday at 2 p.m. I'll talk about house and techno. Hey Charles, as soon as Twitch lets me make emotes, I'll make a scratching emote. DJ Panda, thank you for joining. Heidi, Antito too. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And all the folks in the Zoom room, Daniel, Lucas, Janice, Joanna. Or is it Juana? Joanna? Let me know in chat. Julia, Rob, Stefan, and Tony. Thank you so much. Oh, you're very welcome, Joanna.
Beat it.
Lucas, you're very welcome. And for everybody who is on Twitch, hang out. We're gonna raid someone. I'll see if someone's playing hip hop, and we'll figure out how to raid them. You have a good weekend to everybody. All right.